It's official, Nova Scotia is the province with the highest poverty rate in Canada. Over 1/3 of Atlantic Canadians say that rising costs are affecting their ability to meet basic needs, and even one Redditor recently confessed online that he had to steal food because he couldn't afford it. And 1 in 10 Haligonians now even live below the poverty line, which is now a household income that's around $52,000.
You know the saying, winter is coming? Well, in Canada, it's already been winter and it's always winter. If you think I'm joking, just take a look at these luxury apartments.
So I'm currently looking for a new place in Toronto, and I just wanted to show you guys some of the listings I came across, because at what point do we draw the line? Because we are literally living in hell right now, okay? So the first one here, room for rent, sharing in parentheses. Look at that though, you get 2 bottles of wine and your own sleeping bag. So yeah, this is a steal. Definitely recommend.
I mean, like, those 2 bottles of wine is completely diabolical. It's almost like as if they know people are gonna be lit so that we don't, like, revolt and be like, Viva la resistance! To revoke all the F-free that's going on, right? And it's kind of funny because it adds up, right? Like, you see how they shut down everything during COVID, but then the SQDC, the SAQ, they were all open. You know, you gotta keep us nice and docile. Hold on, I gotta get my tinfoil hat on. Don't get me going on that one. I have a lot to say about that.
Okay, we got another great option here, because who doesn't love sleeping next to a complete stranger in what looks like a dungeon, essentially, and only for $500. So great deal again. Okay, next up we have another great option here, 1 bed, 1 bath flat. I love this boho chic Guantanamo Bay prison style setting here. I think it's amazing, such a great deal, $450. So do not miss out on this opportunity, guys, before someone else snags it before you do. And next up here we have this other great option for $800 a month. And with that you get this Rottweiler piss infested mattress. Yeah, it looks really comfortable, guys. B&B styled. Really great. I love it.
It really does look like Rottweiler pee. But yeah, on this next one here, like the next one legit looks like a hospital bed. So you guys let me know, right? Like, it's almost like they're prepping people for MAiD.
And next up, we have this Studio 1 bath, $800 a month. And yeah, if anyone is practicing DIY medical services, this is a great opportunity. Amazing price, great location. Please inquire, serious inquiries only. Thank you.
Okay, that's gotta be a misunderstanding for real, because that's obviously like an emergency room, right? Right? I hope so.
And last but not least, here we have this great space here. Look how functional, great use of the space, okay? Only $13.50 a month for this room. Please, I need this. I need it right now. And you know, if you're looking to furnish any of these places, this great white office chair, need gone. Peeling outer layer, but works perfectly. Okay, good. I'm relieved to find that out. Yeah, office chair, need gone. Who did you use to torture on this chair? That you need this evidence discarded, that you can't throw this in the damn trash yourself. I want to get off this planet. I'm done.
Yeah, like that. I love that good old passive-aggressive Canadian-ness of that guy, right? But I mean, like, to want to get off the planet because the Toronto housing market is unaffordable, I think that's a bit of an overreaction. Everybody knows that Canada is not just Vancouver and Toronto, right? There's still lots of affordable places, although it's definitely reducing with rising cost of living, rising immigration, higher unemployment and stuff like that. It's definitely closing in on us. But I mean, there's more to Canada than just Toronto and Vancouver. But yeah, does anybody else notice how those bunk beds, like the bunk bed room was $13.50? As if they think the bunk bed is some sort of high rise with a view. And for that chair that was peeling, I think they might want to hit up Dexter, right? Maybe he can help them dump it off in his boats. Wink, wink. Yeah, we're just going to go over some comments here, right? So one comment here says, these were clearly made to exploit international students. I think so. I definitely think so. Those guys must be making a killing, right? Imagine renting a bunk bed. Like, that was like $500, $500, 1,000 for 2 beds, right? Ka-ching! Another person says, I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment that is somehow turned into a 4-bedroom apartment by splitting the living room into 2 small rooms for $850. Yeah, you see? Someone says greedy owners need to chill, honestly. So y'all let me know down in the comments below. Do you think this is as a result of greedy owners, or do you think it's just people's mortgage rates going higher and then they having to kind of survive, so they have to pay for it somehow? I'm curious to know, because I know mortgage rates did go up, right? Someone else says liberal Canada, and then another person is saying rent control is provincial, Ontario is conservative. That's true, although I don't think that the rising cost of living, like cost of housing, has anything to do with rent control, but I might be wrong. I think it's more to do with the cost of owning, right? The expenses to own a place has definitely gone up, and as you see, like as with the rising cost, you're gonna have to pass those costs onto someone, unfortunately. Another person here is saying, this is literally what nightmares look like. I would agree. It's a nightmare on Elm Street. Liberal Canada, India standards. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then this final one, I'm going to end on this one because this is just way too wild. It says, when I was in college, a man on Marketplace offered the other side of his king bed for $300. Yeah, I hope you reported him to the authorities, ma'am, because that is likely illegal. And this next clip here is about MAiD in Canada. If you don't know what MAiD is, it's medically assisted induced often.
Coroner's reports find that Canadians facing poverty are disproportionately opting for medically assisted death without a terminal illness. That's right, people in the lowest 20% of the population in terms of wealth and the worst housing instability made up nearly half of Track 2 MAiD recipients, which covers those without a terminal illness. Women are also overrepresented in this category, and critics say that it's social suffering and not just medical need which is driving vulnerable people to seek medically assisted death.
Yeah, I had to look that up myself. So I went and I searched, right? I said, like, how many people died in 2024 as a result of MAiD? So in 2024, there's an AI overview, the exact number of deaths by MAiD through Track 2. So these are people that don't have terminal illnesses that would subsequently kill them. So it's difficult to pinpoint as the final figures are not yet available. However, data from 2023 suggests that MAiD deaths under Track 2 represent a small percentage of MAiD provisions. To get some of those numbers, is the data from 2023 says the total MAiD provisions was approximately 15,000 MAiD deaths in 2023, and then through Track 1 was 95.9% of those, which is about 14.7k, and then through Track 2 was 4.1%, so about 622. So while it is not like a lot in a country like Canada, you would, with such wealth, you wouldn't expect to see something like this in a country such as Canada. But I might be wrong. Yeah, let me know what you think about that down in the comments below. Do you think that's acceptable? I definitely think it's unacceptable.
So in Canada, we're demolishing people's houses that they've abandoned because they can't afford to live in them, and using our limited resources to build apartments and condos that these people can afford to live in. So we're using more resources, more labor. Make it make sense. Why don't we just make the homes they originally lived in more affordable? Make it make sense.
Yeah. Holy moly, this chick is as if like a sloth took a bunk hit, right? She's like in slow-mo. But she's not wrong, right? Why can't the government give people a break so that maybe they can afford to maintain their homes? Or perhaps use some of that money they're going to use to like build affordable housing, give it to those people to be able to fix up their homes, right? But yeah, is there anywhere that is still affordable in Canada? I definitely think so, in my opinion. As I already said earlier, Canada really isn't just Toronto and Vancouver. Montreal is very much affordable, although the provincial income taxes in Quebec is one of the highest in Canada. Gatineau is also pretty affordable. I myself, I own a triplex in Gatineau, 2-bedroom, 1 bath in each of the units, and I rent it out at $800 and $805, around there, $800, $805 a month. And now, granted, it's not like a luxury place, but you're not gonna, and if you have roommates, then you can even go $400 each, right? So I think that's definitely fair. And it's just on the border of Ottawa, so you could walk in Ottawa and live in Gatineau. if you do the math, even though you have a higher provincial tax in Quebec, you'll still get out ahead, especially if you have kids. Quebec is known to have great social assistance. So you guys might want to consider moving to Quebec. I'm curious to know your thoughts and your opinions down in the comments below. How are you faring in these treacherous times here in Canada? Leave me a like and a subscribe, and until next time, peace.